Yeah, we now wear shorts, shorts and business shirts.
Yeah.
It's much more professional now.
And Mark had an antler back then.
Yeah, I had hair when we first started the One Nation contest. I genuinely did. I had a top knot because I'm in Melbourne, so I have to hide. I have to disguise myself, so I had a top knot, but I was balding at the front and at the back. It was just a disguise. We're right around the corner from Lydia Thorpe's office, by the way. We're in the zone. Like, I'm all for Bob's give everyone a rifle because I might need one. Come to our house. We've actually had a few little hate mail come through the house, which we always test for arsenic, but mostly it's all been email. And that's probably a fraction of what you guys get. I think we did an episode of
We call it character building.
It's character building. It really is.
That hate just builds character, doesn't call that.
Come on.
All right, Alan's up there with the microphone. What's your name? Where are you from?
My name's Sharon, I'm from the Gold Coast as well. It's just a very quick one. Is Dr. Spectrum still available to the public?
Yeah, it's on YouTube.
Oh, it's on YouTube. So that exact same thing happened to me with my son. It happened to everybody. It was amazing. Thank you.
It's really sad. I remember I had a father of a guy who whose child had autism, and he called me up because he was very upset about it. And I was like, this is not what that episode's about. This is people do have autism. It's just it's the open diagnosis of it that's ruining for the rest of us. And that was similar to the message in the NDIS episode that we did as well. And so the problem is the people are taking the piss out of it, and the service providers also taking the piss out of it. If you got angry at that, fair enough, it was pretty antagonistic, but you also kind of missed the point. And Dr. Spectrum was very similar, where it was making a point. Yes, it was pretty heavy-handed, but it's about getting that message out there. So stop taking the piss. If more people did that in this country, we'd be in a better place as well.
And the other thing too is, since we did that NDIS cartoon, did you notice not one politician said a single thing about it?
They don't say anything.
Instead, a week later, every politician started talking about how they've got to improve the system. Because we were taking the mickey out of the fact that it has just been rorted, mainly by NDIS providers, isn't it? That's the one we see here all the time. While you would get complaints about the way it's been taken for granted too.
And I, as a ordinary person, one of my neighbours said to me that a friend of his said that he had a child who was in that state, but they offered him and gave him a child support system, wheelchair and everything else, which he didn't need. But they just gave it to him anyway.
That's what
it's terrible.
Service provider. When I was in my research phase for that episode as well, I saw ads. I got targeted for ads. It was like, are you thinking about becoming an NDIS service provider? It's good money. Sign on up. Like, and this is how you do it. You charge more. It's easy. It's great. It's such good money. What a horrible system. And it's ruining. It's ruining an otherwise very, very good program. And it's going to destroy it. And it's going to make everyone go, get rid of it. We don't want to get rid of it. We want to make it better. So that's what we're doing.
Next question, where's Beaver? By the way, Beaver, who you're meeting out there is one of our staff within Pauline's office. Beaver is who typically answers the phone.
Hi, I'm John from Brisbane. What's your take on the softball questioning of Albo from the media and the soft take?
Okay, you've had your day. Sorry, it's about two people that love each other. That's a good thing.
We'll leave this one for Pauline and Bob. Did you want to finish your question?
And when do you think it's going to end? Will it end?
Pauline?
No, it won't, because the media have changed over the years. Bob's been around a lot longer in politics than I have. I first came in 1996. At that stage, we had media that actually did the research and actually did write the story and weren't so opinionated as what they are today. a lot of the young journalists coming through don't research, can't even spell properly, absolutely bloody hopeless, and then they're so opinionated because they've come through this educational system and the universities, and they have the left way thinking. They will not put Albanese under the microscope as what they do with the coalition. That's right across the board with a lot. You'll get a few here and there that will give you a fair go. This is why I don't go on ABC. Channel 7 and 9 have basically banned me.
Really?
If you remember that.
Really, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I did that interview with him in the studio that time.
Is that right? She's
Down
kidding.
an inch. Before that, we always did the interviews not with Koshy directly. If I was in Sydney and a couple of times, I was upstairs and on the camera there, never in the studio. I was supposed to do that interview at Sylvania Waters, but they said, oh no, can you come to the studio? First time ever they had both of us on that
Yeah, I love it.
platform with Koshy, and he actually went for me over the immigration issue. And from that time, and I thought, you know what, you won't get me off the program again. If I went back again, it'd be like domestic violence. You keep going back again. I know it's just going back again and get bashed around. The same as Q&A, I don't go back on their program. They set me up every time. Channel 9, because this is, remember the stubby holders that went down to the, the units? Anyway, do I take credit? No, this is what I'm saying. It wasn't my idea to send them down to these people in the box, these stubby holders, stubby coolers. But anyway, and then, because they knew it was stubby coolers coming from One Nation, the council refused to allow them to be delivered. So then there was a fight on between the Australia Post and Christian They said you can't, that's a federal offence to stop mail being delivered. So anyway, it was on, and of course I was in the middle of it because it was my fault, because my name's on it. So to be calling council sometimes, yes, nothing about it. I mean, you're asking me why did I send these study holders down there, study coolers down. But anyway, sometimes it has its good points of being fully handsome, and other times you just have to wear it and it has to go over the top of your head and say, the hell with it, you go with the wave.
Bob, what's your
Go
take?
on, Pauline, you're a brave woman.
Bob, what's your take on this?
I served in the State Parliament for 20 years under the Jockey person. And
God.
in those 20 years, I can never remember, I used to read the newspapers in those days, I don't now, but I can never remember a single positive article on the Jockey person in the 20 years. And Joe had had enough of this, so he got all journalists down at the Brisbane River, and he said, you all misinterpret me and misrepresent everything I say, particularly you, the Courier Mail. So I'm going to do something now that you will not be able to misrepresent. With that, Joe walked out on the water 100 metres into the Brisbane River and walked back. Now misrepresent that. So the front page of the Courier Mail next day said, the Jockey Peterson can't swim. But they rang me out and said, we've discovered that since you become Northern Development Minister, there's been 1 square inch of North Queensland put under national parks. And I said, you said you're going to say that? Yes, could you put it on the front page, please, and distribute it in North Queensland? So, when they think that they're attacking and damaging us, one of the reasons that Pauline gets the terrific vote that she does, they've got no money, they're trying to win a statewide campaign. We're just compressed into the north. It's a lot easier for us. And but it's the fact that these silly beggars think they're attacking her, when in actual fact, they're carrying her message for her out there. Good on you, Pauline.
Can I ask, how many of you heard this week Pauline's been taken to court by Marine Faruqi?
Really?
How many of you know why Pauline went on the attack of Marine Faruqi?
Yes.
Okay, for those of you who don't know, Marine Faruqi attacked the Queen on the day of her death. And basically just went to town on the monarch. Pauline defending Maya and also highlighting to Marine Faruqi that this country has done you nothing but great things. We've given you not only the opportunity to come here as a migrant and settle and become prosperous and buy your 7 investment homes and get a job in our parliament. Now you want to spit in the face of the monarch and spit in the face of every Australian who, on a day like her death, you know, it was a bit of a sombre moment, whether you call the Queen or not. And Pauline said, if you're not happy here, piss off back to Pakistan. Well, they went to the Human Rights Commission. What did they do, Pauline?
Well, actually, there was no case. They wanted me to come in for conciliation. Well, I wasn't going to sit across the table from her and conciliate over what. So I didn't turn up, so they had to actually throw it out. Now she's taken it to the federal court, so I have to defend in the federal court. And this is what it is. They'll be fighting it under Section 18C. Have you heard 18C for the Racial Discrimination Act? This is where Tony Abbott wanted to change it. Morrison wanted to do something about it. Some of the Liz had wanted to change it, you know, get rid of it. It was brought in by Paul Keating. It's because if you find it offensive or you insulting or harmful, that type of thing, you can go and have a go at someone taken before the federal court. That's what she's doing. The fact is, criticism is not racism. And you have a right to have an opinion. She can come out and have a go at the Queen. Now, I remember as a child, I am a monarchist because it's not so much that supporting the kings and queens, I support the system that we're under. We have a Westminster system of government that protects our rights, and being a republic, I don't think that it will protect our rights as much. That's why I believe in the monarchy. But the whole fact is, I didn't like her attitude of having a go at the Queen. When we grew up and we went to school, we were on the parade ground every morning, and we actually saw the flag being raised. We put our hand on our heart, and we actually said, we love our God, country, and our Queen. That's what we grew up with. And I will not have anyone come out and denigrate saying that because of white. This has been taken away from marriage laws. It hasn't. We've actually, came out here, and I think there's this whole thing that the debate that we're having now over divorce, we need to have the debate. Because if we don't stand up and fight these issues, and I will fight her over this, I'm not going to back away. She's not going to get me to walk away from it and get $150,000 plus costs. Yeah. Because I will fight this. We have to, and this you mean about 18C. If the politicians are too bloody gutless to give us back our rights to have an opinion, have a say, then we have to do it. I have to do it in the High Court. And what I've been told is that this is a strong case, that I have to fight it. I have to take a side. And it's about our rights and our futures to have a say. I've forgotten how many court cases I have been through. And at the moment, I'm before the human rights as well, with another defamation case, because I stood up for 2 women that were actually being sexually abused by a former member of Parliament.
I think the word is harassed, and that's why you're looking for the defamation. We'll just go with
harassed. But not only that, this prick of a man, which I wish he was on the... I wish that bus, I tell you. But anyway, now he's taken me because I've actually touched his prick and his body was moved here in 2016, and the next year, a year later, I grabbed his bloody bum. So now I'm before him for sexual harassment. So that's another case I've got going on at the moment.
Been a good week this week, hasn't it? We were lucky to have her here tonight because she's like, there's 2 legal cases in the week. It's like, do I really want to turn up and like these people like you? You're safe, you've got a safe audience.
It's different from day to day, I can tell you. So if you've had a hard day, if you really think that you're having a hard day, go and buy my mug with my shot on it about being in prison. Oh, this one had it. We couldn't find mugshot from prison. No, we didn't use that one. So he had it printed. He had another one painted up, didn't he? So
I had an artist do this beautiful portrait of her in prison.
I said, it's bloody awful, James. I said, it's bloody awful. I said, look, I don't care. And he said, we'll put it up for auction. I said, no one's going to own that painting. I said, I'm not going to sell that painting. This goes on between us all the time. He's like a son to me anyway. But he's been the backbone to see me get where I am. And I can't say enough about James Ashby. And how it happened was when I decided to run for politics again, I came back to a party that was just out defunct. Had no money, no office, absolutely nothing in 2015 it was. Anyway, we ran the first election, and he ended up being the printer for our gear. And what I understood was, and the printer was actually helping us out because they were making a hell of a lot of mistakes. So the printer was actually redoing it and helping us out and delivering, working through the night to get our call fleets done. And I didn't find out till this Thursday before the election it was actually James Ashby. And I knew James Ashby's name because he'd been on 60 Minutes. And he'd been through a hell of a bloody lot of his himself and burnt by politics. But anyway, he believed in me. And he turned up in the polling booth, and I was in this small country town, Merry Creek, at the base of Toowoomba, working the polling booth by myself. And he turned up and stood there all day taking photos, just talking to me, all day. By my side, getting to know me, first time I met him. He was with me that night, went to the studios for an interview, Channel 7, came back to Gatton, and he was on the computers all night, and he has been there since. And I will not have anyone criticise James and says that, have a go at him. It was the best thing that's ever happened to the party, to my political career, and
It's been 100 years. You got less of a sentence from the bloody Queensland courts than what you got from me. No, it's been good.
We all
It really has.
love you when you come on the outside of the property.
Oh, thank you.
But it's not even James, it's my other staff that he is, the staff, from the head office and different ones. This stuff just doesn't happen. It's people that we work together as a team. A lot of my staff have been with me the full time running in politics again and have stuck with me. And they're dedicated as well. So it's not just pulling hands, it's about a team effort that we make it happen and we pull together. And we go through good times, we go through bad times. But I'm proud of all of my staff that we've...
All right, next question, Peter.
Hi, I'm Patrick from Brisbane.
Hi, Patrick.
How are you? As a gay man myself, how can One Nation better articulate to other people that One Nation is all about equality for everyone, regardless of whatever minority you're from? For example, the importation of work ideology that's coming from America at the minute, which involves the erasure of women. One Nation is all about equality, and I just want to ask how it can better be articulated to people that in Australia that are on the left that don't actually realise what's going to happen until it happens.
Please need to be here.
Yeah, well, that, please.
Right, look, I've always, have always advocated quality for everyone.
Oh, you going to move the car?
Race, your culture, your background, and also the fact is, what your sexual preferences are in life, whatever, everyone has a right to their own happiness, and I've always advocated that. The world's changing so fast and not for the better. And what I get my back up at the moment is this transgender that's going on. And what's happening to our children in our classrooms is not right.
We'll help you with that. We'll help you.
It's not the classroom, the teachers, it's not the parents doing all of this stuff. But like I said, they're pushing their ideology, they're pushing their agenda onto our children. And what we put up the meme about was that these drag queens. Why would children want to be drag queens? Isn't it like, why do drag queens want to meet children? Are we trying to make it look all right?
I want to know.
The erasure of women's coming from
countries in terms of the woke ideology from countries like America. And the thing is, it's actually going against what people in Australia would identify as being on the left. It's actually going against the equality that the left in Australia is actually supposedly rooting for.
I'm really keen, Bob. Have any gays moved into Kennedy yet? I'm sure you said there were none in Kennedy.
I'm sorry, I wasn't sure the question, but I just couldn't help the previous question. Mark Stein is a brilliant satirist. You guys love him. He wrote an excellent book, After America. He uses England all the time, and it just seems to be a country that's shot to pieces and gone. It doesn't make anything now. I have a magnificent Diana air rifle that shot nearly $1 million bullets through, and can still shoot toads. I wouldn't do that because it's illegal. But no, he said that Oxford has had the Imperial Ball. You know, it's an annual event at Oxford University for 270 years. And the group at Oxford said, the word empire is offensive to us, and you must take the word empire out. So the committee met, so they took the word empire out after 270 years. And then they said, oh, well, balls are class conscious. So, you shouldn't have balls anymore, so they don't have it, they have a function, now. And Mark Stein observed, it's quite clear to me that England from now on will not have any balls.
All right, another question, Peter?
Good evening, my name is Sue Price. I'm with an organisation called Men's Rights Agency. You're probably all going to say, do we have any rights left? Unfortunately, our Labour Party is bringing in some new legislation, but they didn't talk about prior to the election. They didn't warn anybody, but they are proposing to remove the principles of shared parenting from the legislation. And they're not only going to do that, they're also going to remove the principle of being a parent responsible for a child. They're all going to be called carers now, so they can be anybody. You won't count at all. I was wondering what sort of cartoon you make of that.
To be honest, it's one of those struggles that we have a lot of times when we're having these discovery meetings once a week. Sometimes we're hearing stories and situations that are so sad and so confusing, and it's really hard sometimes to spin it into a funny way. They sometimes come, but sometimes they don't, and that's the hard bit with these cartoons. They serve as a launching pad where we may be able to mention it, and then we use that the One Nation team do a press release that's able to be pushed out and run a more serious side. But that's something that's been on our radar as well, as something that we do want to talk about. And same as yours, mate, like, to talk about how wacky the left have become, and they used to be all about free speech. Now they want to shut it down. Now they're telling us we can't have words. So, we want to have Adam going through books and trying to strike out words. Or we're going to get rid of retard. We can't have that anymore. That's gone. Fat. Let's get rid of fat. No. Adam, it's the dictionary. Yeah, just going to
Louis, they're going to reject the Louis episode that uses the word fat.
Unbelievable. So yeah, we're constantly on the lookout, and those sort of things. We occasionally get forwarded emails from the team of One Nation as well for ideas for episodes, and a lot of the time it's stuff like that. We go like, that's great. I hope an episode comes because it sounds really important. And sometimes we're doing stuff that's just lampooning the left, and then there's sometimes where it's like, no, this is actually important. This is not just silly. This is actually important. So we appreciate it.
All right, Beaver's got one here, and I've got one down in front again for you after that. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Alatia. I'm from Brisbane. I'm 23, studying psychology at the moment. I actually wrote a piece on both Bob Catter and you, Pauline, defending both of you.
Let me guess, they failed you.
They failed me. And so I actually tested them. So I did a very, very extremely leftist piece, a piece with forward same kind of, I included statistics, I included references, and I did the exact same thing on you, basically because they labelled you as a white nationalist, simply because of your stance on illegal immigration. So I guess my question is, as a young person studying, how on earth do we stick to our morals and our values and stand up for truth when we are shut down and graded down because of that?
Keep going. It's easy. Keep it up.
A lot of people in the educational system, the only ones going through it, if you don't adhere to their way of thinking and write your essays or whatever to the left way of thinking, you'll get failed, right? That's where they want to be pushing this one through. But a lot of people are just going along with it. Once you get through and get your marks and you go back to who you want to be. Sometimes you have to play the system if you want to get into this system. And then you, as that person, you can actually make up your own mind. It's a shame it's at this stage because, as I said, people, we put out these codes to give a clear message. What we see is happening in our political system in this country and what's happening to our country. At the end of the day, you know what it's about? People power. The power is in your hands. Each and every one of you. It's who you go and talk to. Do you want to pick up the phone? Do you want to actually talk to a member of parliament? Do you actually want to complain? Write a letter to your newspaper? Do you want to go and talk back radio? The power is in your hands. And if you sit back and think, oh, what the hell, what my voice means nothing. If I took that attitude in 1996 when the Liberal Party threw me out, it was John Howard threw me out because I stood up and said equality for all Australians and he wanted to get rid of me. Well, guess what? People power got me into that seat of Oxley with the biggest swing in the nation of 22%, and I won the safest Labor seat in Queensland. And I continue to do it, and I stand up on principle because I am so grateful and honoured to be a member of Parliament to represent you, the people. And I will never look back at my time in there and regret because I didn't stand up for my beliefs, my other ideologies and what I believe in for this country and for the people. So you do exactly the same. Play the system if you have to, but at the end of the day, you be who you want to be.
Right, Bob? Yes.
I got a ring from Christine Holgate, and she said, arguably the longest serving senior cabinet minister in Australian history. You want to see me? And before I could sit down in his office, he said, the politicians today will not govern, will not be able to get to the government. They won't get the government. And I said, where'd you come to that conclusion, Kim? He said, 3 years ago. That's what he really meant. 3.5 months ago, I began to realise it's not because they're lily pad lefties or ring barking righties. It's just that they can't make a decision. And you say, well, how's a bloke like you make a decision? Because unapologetically, I'm Australian. I'm not going to apologise to you or anyone else for that. And if I assert it every day of the week, and you want to call me big xenophobe, they call me xenophobic in the Australian newspaper. And I said, I'm not joining your party. He said, listen, idiot, that's not about joining my party. Xenophobia. My party. A major ultra-nationalist. And I said, well, for once the Australian newspaper's got it right. I answered the question that way.
Can I actually give something for you?
That answered it.
Can I give something for you? Actually, in the woke mind virus episode, one of my favourite lines from Pauline, by the way, which is that you kill them with logic, Bob, because their heads explode. So, deep in Melbourne, a lot of our friends, including some of our staff, by the way, don't do season 2. A lot of them said don't do season 1. Like they hated it, but some of them are so left. It's unbelievable.
Can we tell the story about when you...
Yeah, basically.
Can we tell the story when Pauline surprised some of your staff with a phone call?
So yeah, so 2 of our staff, the 2 designers actually, so they're artists. One of them broke up with his girlfriend for like 8 years, and I told James that, and I said, look, we're gonna try and do these Lydia Thorpe stickers. But we want to do them quick, I get that, but the guy that's going to draw them is really not doing so well. And we sort of said, take the day off, get yourself together. And James was like, no, it's okay. Let's get Pauline to call him. So it was a bit of a double-edged sword. He was like, yeah, that'll definitely cheer him up. But I'm also like, I'm concerned, what's he going to say? Because he's a deep lefty. I'm terrified of it. But they never do. Like they love it. Yeah. They're all lefties. But most of them are. But you defeat them with logic. And I've gone to a few. I went to a dinner party. We both did actually, where with proper vegan lefties too. And they're like, how dare you work for Pauline? Like, she hates Aboriginals. Sure that. And then at that time we were staying for an episode as well. So I was like, what are you talking about? And you fight them with logic, and that's where that seed came from. Do it. Just don't change your perspective. If I've noticed anything with Pauline as well, is the resistance that you've got to have to fight against this sort of stuff. You've got to see ultimately as well, they're pretty weak. They don't have a lot to them, but geez, it takes some moral fortitude and some guts to be able to come up against them. So that's why I respect that so much, because it's so hard to do, to sit there in a room. You know when you're the one guy, the 12 angry men, you know, with the one guy that's going, actually, I'm not sure if I believe that. And then the whole room goes against you. You're copying that every day. And that was to answer your question as well. Albo copied a fraction of what Pauline gets. He'd fall apart. He falls apart with softball questions.
To be fair, Pauline's tapes in 1996, when she was talking with Aboriginal people.
Yeah, we watched that the other day, and it's fantastic. Honestly, yeah.
But I'm going to say, in all the years that I've been working with Pauline, if the Greens, there's a number of them these days, if any of them ask to have a meeting, she'll say yes. She'll give them a hearing. Doesn't have to agree with them, but she'll tell them to their face, don't agree with you, go to your hearing. They will never, ever give her a hearing on anything we put forward. No. And it's sort of like, we do ask ourselves the question, why do we bother these days, don't we?
Why not?
But honestly, I've spent 3 terms now in Parliament watching Pauline work with anybody in that place. She'll give them all a hearing, doesn't always have to agree, she'll at least hear them out. Beaver, front. Thanks for your patience. What's your name? Where you from? Sorry. Is that on? Yes. It is. Alex, can you give the man some body?
But you just
Alex works
drive
for us
up
in our
there.
head office, by the way.
Why not? Oh, the handbrake.
Alex.
Well, you just
Pauline working good.
squeeze into it.
I'm sure if you had a chair and make a seat. There are some big things that we really have got to deal with the climate issue. I deal with it all the time. But do you this question? With the Labor, and also you gentlemen here, educating the young about how Labor work, how their Labor meetings work, they're told how to vote. If they don't obey, they're out. I love the opportunity to revisit the situation when poor Bill Shorten was on the plane.
Really strong.
And Julia Gillard made this tremendous announcement, an impacting announcement. It was earth-shattering. And when Bill gets off the plane, he's asked, what do you think, Bill? He's like, what did she say? Well, what do you think she said? Well, whatever she said, I agree with. This is appalling, and this is what our young people do not realise. They don't get it. That we're dealing with a party of robots. They are brain dead, they cannot think. I love what you said about critical thinking. They cannot ask a question about themselves. You can't ask a question about yourself. How can you analyse the policies of the decision makers if you just say, you're a robot? I'm thinking, I'm too much of a child. How do we go? Can we raise this and raise it up? Because it is a monster. We did an episode in season 1 where we had Albo talking about how it's like, if you don't do exactly as we say,